forest doesn't warn you before it shows its teeth. It just goes silent. And in that silence, something moves. A flash of emerald, a ripple of feathers, a pair of eyes staring back at you from the shadows. Most people never see what's hiding in the deep jungles of Vietnam because most people don't stay quiet long enough. But you're here now, and this is where the wild gets real. These mountains and lowland forests hold some of the rarest birds left on Earth. Species so elusive that even scientists doubt their own field notes. Songs that haven't been recorded in decades. Wings that vanish before the light even touches them. Today we're stepping into that world. 20 extraordinary species that shouldn't still exist, but somehow do. And here's the question that will follow you through this entire journey. One of these birds was believed extinct for more than 50 years, yet it may still be alive somewhere in these trees. The clues are here, the signs are here. The only question is, will you notice it before we reveal the truth? Take a breath, step into the canopy, and meet our first shadow in the leaves. You ever meet a bird that looks like it's judging you before you even say a word? That's the white-throated babbler, Myanmar's hometown gossip queen. And I'm not kidding. This bird doesn't just live in flocks, it lives for them. If drama had feathers, it would look exactly like this. At first glance, it seems harmless. Soft brown, bright eyes, a clean white throat, like it just finished rehearsing for a choir. But get closer, and suddenly you realize this bird has no concept of personal space. None. It'll hop right next to you, tilt its head, and stare like, "So, you come here often?" Tell me that isn't at least a little unsettling. Here's where things get interesting. Unlike most shy forest birds that vanish at the slightest twig snap, the white-throated babbler is bold, confident, maybe a little too confident. It thrives in open fields, villages, roadsides, anywhere it can stir the pot and find snacks at the same time. And yes, it talks, constantly. Their calls overlap into this chaotic group chatter that sounds like a family argument where everyone insists they're right. But the twist is that chaos is actually strategy. They forage as a team, scanning in every direction, warning each other with tiny vocal cues. One sees danger, all respond instantly. It's social intelligence disguised as noise. And here's your mini debate hook. Do you think they're cooperating or just yelling louder than everyone else to feel important? I mean, you've heard humans do that too. Of course, the coolest thing about this species is that it lives nowhere else on Earth. Endemic means exclusive, Myanmar only. A bird with its own postcode, and somehow, despite being common locally, it remains almost invisible to the rest of the world. Underrated, overlooked, totally unaware of how rare it actually is. So here's the real question. Is the white-throated babbler Myanmar's most underestimated bird, or its most chaotic genius? You decide. If you've ever wondered what happens when nature accidentally mixes a parrot with a marsh bird, well, meet the spot-breasted parrotbill. This little troublemaker looks like it escaped from a cartoon. Oversized beak, fluffy face, and an expression that basically screams, "I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway." That beak is the first thing you notice. Big, chunky, almost too big for its head, like someone handed a tiny bird a construction tool. And yet, it uses it with absurd precision, cracking bamboo seeds, prying apart stems, tearing into grasses. Every move is sharp and confident, which raises the obvious question, how does a bird that looks this goofy function as a precision machine? Out in Myanmar's wetlands, you'll often hear them before you see them. A quick chirr, then a bounce of branches, then a soft flutter as the whole flock shifts like an indecisive group of shoppers in a grocery aisle. Parrotbills live in these close-knit gangs, always moving, always whispering to each other with tiny calls. It's chaos that somehow works. And here comes your mini twist, that comically oversized beak. It's evolution done right. They're bamboo specialists. While other birds ignore the thick stuff, parrotbills dive in like they're opening a treasure chest. It's niche survival, perfected by a bird that looks like it hasn't slept since 2003. But here's your debate hook. Do you think this bird is actually intelligent or just accidentally optimized by evolution while looking completely confused about it? Some people swear parrotbills are tactical geniuses. Others say they're just winging it, literally. Still, there's a charm in that awkward confidence. Watching them hop through reeds, working together, never straying far from the flock, it feels like you've stumbled onto a tiny feathered sitcom, and every episode ends the same way, with a mouthful of bamboo seeds and a face full of determination. So tell me, is the spot-breasted parrotbill Myanmar's cutest little mastermind, or its funniest biological experiment? Hold that thought, because the next bird brings elegance, mystery, and national pride all in one package. Some birds demand attention with bright colors. This one does it with confidence. The gray peacock pheasant doesn't need neon feathers or dramatic crests. It walks out of the shadows like a royal who knows exactly who they are. Calm, controlled, absolutely unbothered. You don't get chosen as Myanmar's national bird by being shy. At first glance, it's all subtle grays and delicate patterns. But then it moves, and suddenly those subtle eye spots shimmer like tiny galaxies igniting on its wings. Each one flashes blue-green light, hypnotic, precise, almost unreal. And here's the wild part. That shimmer isn't just beautiful, it's communication, a secret language written in color. During courtship, the male performs what can only be described as a slow-motion power move. He circles the female, raises his tail, spreads those glowing eye spots, and freezes, perfectly still except for the faint quiver of feathers. It's not a dance. It's a negotiation, a silent, glittering contract of attraction, and it works surprisingly well. But here's the twist. Their beauty has made them dangerously appealing to humans. For decades, hunting and habitat loss pushed them deeper and deeper into Myanmar's forests. They're still here, but they're not easy to find. You don't just see a gray peacock pheasant, you earn that moment. It appears when it wants to, not when you want it to. So here comes your debate hook. Does subtle beauty command more power than loud color? Think about it. This bird doesn't shout, it whispers, and somehow the whole forest listens. And for all its elegance, it's also a fighter. Tough legs, sharp instincts, ground-dwelling resilience. It navigates leaf litter like a ghost, slipping between shadows with effortless control. A bird that looks delicate, but lives with grit. So what do you think? Is the gray peacock pheasant Myanmar's quiet monarch, or the forest's hidden warrior wearing a jeweled cloak? Either way, follow closely, because the next species doesn't whisper or glow. It arrives like a living emerald set on fire. If you think you've seen a peacock before, think again. The green peafowl isn't the backyard bird people casually photograph. This one looks like it was carved out of emeralds and polished by royalty. Taller, sharper, wilder. It's the peacock that hits the gym, drinks black coffee, and refuses to pose for tourists. The moment sunlight hits its feathers, everything shifts. Blues melt into greens, greens flare into gold, and gold dissolves into a metallic glow that looks almost fake. It walks with this slow, deliberate strut. Not arrogant, exactly. More like a creature fully aware it's the most beautiful thing in the clearing. But beauty only tells half the story, because unlike its Indian cousin, the green peafowl is built for survival. Long legs, powerful wings, attitude set to do not approach. This bird can actually fly, high, fast, and dramatically, exploding upward from tall grass with a roar of wings that startles anything within 100 meters. And here's the twist. This glittering icon is dangerously close to disappearing. Habitat loss across Southeast Asia pushed it into scattered pockets, and Myanmar now holds some of the last strongholds. Think about that. One of the most dazzling birds on Earth, surviving on the edge because the world didn't pay attention soon enough. Now for your debate hook, is the green peafowl stunning because it's rare, or rare because it's stunning? If this bird were common, would we value it the same way? Or is its beauty amplified by how close we came to losing it? Watch its courtship display, and you'll understand why conservation matters. The male fans out a shimmering train, each feather a living gemstone, vibrating in the breeze like a wave of liquid metal. The sound, the glow, the tension. It isn't just a mating ritual, it's nature's version of slow-motion fireworks. So before it slips deeper into the forest, take one last look. The green peafowl isn't just a bird, it's a warning wrapped in iridescence. And the next species, well, it trades elegance for height, lots of height. If elegance had a height requirement, the Saru's crane would be the one enforcing it. This bird isn't tall, it's towering, the tallest flying bird on the planet. When it steps out of the wetlands of Myanmar, it doesn't walk. It glides like a runway model who got lost on the way to Fashion Week and decided to become a wetland guardian instead. The first thing you notice is the red head, a deep raw crimson that looks like it was painted on with purpose. It gives the crane this strangely noble, slightly intimidating look, like a monk who could also bench press you. And when they stand together, pairs side by side in shallow water, the whole scene feels ancient, mythological, like you're watching a story that started long before humans learned to write. But here's where things get wild. These cranes mate for life, and their bond is dramatic. Their courtship dance isn't just beautiful, it's athletic. They leap, bow, toss their heads back, trumpet to the sky, and move in perfect synchrony. It's basically a ballet performed by two dinosaurs who decided romance deserved choreography. And now for the twist. Despite their size and grace, Saris cranes are fragile in the modern world. Wetland loss, agriculture, power lines, all chipping away at a species that should have ruled the landscape forever. Myanmar holds some of the last safe places for them, a giant with nowhere left to stand. So here's your debate hook. Do we protect creatures because they're rare, or because they remind us of something we've lost? Watch a crane pair reunite after weeks apart, calling, dancing, almost vibrating with joy, and tell me that isn't worth fighting for. Their calls carry for miles, echoing across plains with a deep, rolling resonance that sounds like the earth exhaling. It's haunting and hopeful. A voice from a species holding on with everything it has. And if you think a massive, lifelong pair-bonding bird is impressive, wait until you see the next one. It's smaller, but its legend runs just as deep. Some birds try to be beautiful. Mrs. Hume's pheasant doesn't try at all. It just walks out of the forest, looking like a royal assassin who moonlights as a fashion icon. Deep chestnut body, metallic blue head, glowing white tail. Every color placed with surgical precision. It's the kind of bird that makes you wonder, how is this real? And why does it look better dressed than I do? This pheasant lives in the quiet, rugged hills of Myanmar. Places where sunlight slices through pine trees and the ground smells like cool dust and leaves. It moves with this careful confidence, stepping over rocks like it's inspecting territory it already owns. And honestly, it is. Mrs. Hume's pheasant is fiercely territorial, sticking to its chosen patch of forest year after year. But here's the curveball. For all that swagger, it's incredibly hard to find. Not because it's shy, because it's smart. It sticks to the dim understory, blends into shadows, and freezes the second something feels off. One wrong footstep from you, and it's gone, like a magic trick performed by a bird who never asked for an audience. And now for your mini twist. The male doesn't win mates by showing off colors. He wins by showing he can survive. Foraging skills, awareness, escape instincts. It's not a beauty contest. It's a survival resume. Which brings us to the debate hook. Does real beauty come from color or competence? If humans had to impress partners this way, half of us would struggle to pass the "don't get eaten today" requirement. The species has survived decades of habitat loss and hunting pressure, clinging to the last strong forests of Myanmar and India. Every time it steps into a sunbeam, you're looking at something that has fought to remain here. So what do you think? Is Mrs. Hume's pheasant a hidden jewel or a forest warrior disguised as one? Either way, follow that glint of metallic blue carefully, because the next bird doesn't shimmer, it thunderclaps. You don't just see a great hornbill, you hear it first. A deep whoosh, then another, then a slow thunderous beating of wings that sounds like someone swinging a heavy sail through the air. And then it appears, gliding over the forest canopy, like a prehistoric king who never got the memo that dinosaurs supposedly went extinct. Massive yellow casque, thick curved beak, bold black and white wings. Everything about this bird says, yes, I am absolutely the main character. It's not subtle, it's not trying to be elegant, it's here to take up space, command attention, and remind every creature below that the sky has a hierarchy. But the surprise? For something that looks this intimidating, the great hornbill is a romantic. And I mean hard romantic. During nesting season, the female seals herself inside a tree cavity with mud, fruit pulp, and feces, leaving only a tiny slit for the male to pass food through. She stays locked inside for weeks. Who feeds her? Who protects her? The guy with the big beak and bigger heart. Think about that. The forest's loudest, most dramatic bird is also one of its most devoted partners. And here's your debate hook. Is this extreme loyalty beautiful or borderline insane? Sealing your partner in a tree for months is definitely not in any human relationship guide. Fun fact, hornbills are crucial seed spreaders. They swallow fruits whole, fly great distances, and deposit seeds far from their source. Forests rely on them, sometimes more than we rely on forests. When a great hornbill disappears, future trees disappear with it. And yet habitat loss is pushing them toward silence. Those deep wing beats, echoes of an ancient world, are heard less every year. When you encounter one, you're not just seeing a bird, you're meeting a survivor holding up an entire piece of the ecosystem. So what do you think? Is the great hornbill a brute in bright colors, or the forest's most unlikely romantic guardian? Hold that thought, because the next species takes things in the opposite direction. Small, dark, and living life right on the edge. If the great hornbill is the forest's dramatic hero, then the white-rumped vulture is the dark, misunderstood anti-hero, the one everyone avoids until they realize, oh, this guy's actually saving the entire ecosystem. Let's get one thing straight. Vultures aren't pretty, and this species definitely didn't wake up trying to win a beauty contest. Bald head, hooked beak, feathers that look permanently windblown. It's the avian equivalent of someone who slept 3 nights in their car. But here's the twist. That rough look, it's perfect design, perfect hygiene, perfect survival. You don't want feathers soaking up bacteria from carcasses. Trust me. Now here's where things get heavy. This species used to cover the skies of South Asia, tens of millions strong. Then almost overnight, it crashed to less than 1% of its former population. A veterinary drug called diclofenac poisoned the vultures that fed on livestock carcasses. Imagine losing 99% of your species because of something you never consumed directly. That's tragedy on a scale most animals never recover from. And that brings us to your debate hook. Do we judge a species by how it looks or by the role it plays? Because without vultures, carcasses rot slower, diseases spread faster, and ecosystems collapse. Beauty is optional. Cleanup crews are essential. Watch a white-rumped vulture circle overhead. Wide wings, steady glide, eyes scanning the ground with laser focus. It doesn't kill, it cleans, it recycles. It prevents outbreaks without asking for applause. And when it lands beside a carcass, the other scavengers know the real professionals have arrived. Myanmar now holds some of the last surviving populations, a quiet sanctuary for a bird that once ruled the skies. Every individual matters. Every nest is a lifeline. When you see one perched on a dead tree, wings spread wide to sterilize in the sun, you're watching resilience in its rawest form. So what do you think? Has the white-rumped vulture earned the title of ugliest hero? Or does that label miss the point entirely? Either way, the next bird won't be cleaning bones. It prefers forests, shadows, and survival that feels almost mythical. Some animals hide because they're shy. The white-winged duck hides because it's basically a legend that accidentally stayed alive. This bird is so rare that even veteran biologists celebrate like they won the lottery when they spot one. No joke. Finding this duck in the forests of Myanmar feels like seeing a ghost that happens to quack. At first glance, it looks almost too big for a duck. Heavy body, long neck, glossy dark plumage, like a shadow that learned to swim. But when it opens its wing, there they are. Bright white panels slicing through the darkness, flashing like someone turned on high beams in the middle of a swamp. That contrast doesn't just catch your eye, it hits you hard. What makes this species truly wild is where it chooses to live. While most ducks float around open lakes like they're on vacation, the white-winged duck picks remote forest pools, deep inside old-growth jungle. Quiet, murky, almost motionless. It's the kind of place where you start questioning if something is watching you, and it usually is. Now here's your twist. This duck is nocturnal. Not fully, but enough to break every stereotype you've ever had about ducks. It forages at dusk and dawn, slipping through dark water with zero sound. It's a ninja in feathers, a heavyweight ghost. And here's your debate hook. Is it rare because it's declining, or because it's a master at not being found? Birders argue about this all the time. Some swear the species is hiding better than we think. Others say the numbers are truly collapsing. Maybe the truth is both. Human pressure, logging, hunting, habitat loss, pushed it close to oblivion. Myanmar is one of the last countries where it still hangs on, clinging to quiet pools like a secret it doesn't want to share. Watch one lift off the water and you'll understand why people fall in love instantly. The wings flash white, the body arcs upward, and for a moment, the forest feels bigger, older, untouched. Hold on to that feeling, because the next bird brings color, contrast, and a reputation that made it a holy grail for birdwatchers. Some birds are rare, some birds are beautiful, and then there's Gurney's pitta, a creature so impossibly vivid it looks like a rainforest dreamed it up. Electric blue crown, golden belly, velvet black mask. Every feather looks painted with a different emotion. When you see one, even for a second, your brain goes, "No way, that can't be real." But here's the shocking part. For years, people thought it wasn't real anymore. This bird vanished for decades. Whole generations of scientists grew up believing it had slipped quietly into extinction. Myanmar ended that story, because deep in the Tenasserim forests, against all odds, Gurney's pitta resurfaced. Alive, fragile, blinking into the world like a forgotten treasure. And it's tiny, comically tiny, a jewel with legs. It hops through the leaf litter like it's sneaking around on a secret mission, stopping every few seconds to listen, then darting forward with the confidence of a creature that lives life 6 inches at a time. Now comes the twist. For a bird this bright, it does everything in the dark. Pre-dawn feeding, dusk calling, movement under thick shade. It hides its brilliance in shadows like an artist refusing to show their best work. Which brings us to your debate hook. Is rarity what makes something beautiful? Or does beauty become sharper when it's almost lost forever? This species has one weakness: habitat. It needs dense, undisturbed forest. Lose the forest, lose the bird. Simple math. And that's exactly why it nearly disappeared the first time. Myanmar's remaining patches of lowland evergreen forest now act as its last chapters, still being written page by page. Listen closely and you'll hear its soft, metallic, double-note call. Almost a whisper, almost a memory. And yet, it still cuts through the silence with surprising clarity, as if the forest itself wants you to notice. So what do you think? Is Gurney's pitta a miracle comeback, or a warning wrapped in feathers? Either way, don't blink, because the next bird is louder, brighter, and ready to crash the spotlight with a burst of blue and orange. If Gurney's pitta is a jewel hidden in the shadows, the blue-winged pitta is the one that kicks the door open and shouts, "Surprise, I'm fabulous!" This bird doesn't do subtle, not even close. It shows up wearing electric blue wings, neon green back, bright yellow belly, black mask, red undertail. Like it got dressed in the dark using every color available, and somehow, still nailed it. And here's the kicker. For a bird this flashy, it spends most of its life hopping quietly through leaf litter like a nervous woodland clown. It doesn't soar over the canopy. It doesn't glide gracefully. Nope, it hops. High energy, big attitude hops. Watching a blue-winged pitta move is like seeing a rainbow coffee bean with legs. But the real surprise, it's a migrant, a long-distance one. This little ball of color travels across Southeast Asia, then sneaks into Myanmar's forests just in time for the wet season. And when the rains come, the forest floor becomes its kingdom. It digs through mud, flips leaves, hunts insects and worms like a tiny detective searching for clues. Here's your twist. Its call is shockingly simple. A two-note whistle, clean, sharp, almost lazy. You look at the bird and expect a symphony, but it gives you a ringtone. Which brings us to your debate hook. Does a bird this glamorous deserve a more dramatic voice? Or is the simplicity part of the charm, like a rock star whispering instead of belting? One thing's certain, pitas are masters of vanishing acts. Blink once and they're gone. Their colors, oddly enough, disappear when they're still. The green melts into the forest, the blue becomes shadow, the yellow fades under leaves. It's a magic trick you only appreciate after losing sight of the performer. When you finally spot one again, wings flashing blue as it jumps through a shaft of sunlight, you feel like you've just unlocked a secret level of the forest. Pitas don't show up for everyone. They choose their audience. So what do you think? Is the blue-winged pita nature's most chaotic color palette, or a perfectly engineered illusion? Either way, get ready, because the next bird trades neon for mystery and shadows. The forest has daytime birds, it has nighttime birds, and then it has the red-headed trogon, a creature that looks like it belongs in a dream, not in any time zone. You don't really see this bird at first. You feel it, a sudden stillness, a soft glow of red in the corner of your eye. Then finally the shape resolves, and there it is, calm, motionless, watching you like it already knows your next move. That red head isn't just red, it's velvet red, deep, rich, almost glowing. The body is a blend of warm chestnut and bright coral, with a tail patterned like fine silk fabric. No bird should look this carefully crafted, and yet the trogon acts like its color scheme is a private secret. It sits on shaded branches, turning into a quiet, perfect ornament in a world of chaos. But here's the twist. For a bird that looks like a Zen master, it hunts like a ninja. It waits, and waits, and waits, until an insect flies too close. Then, snap. A quick sally out, grab, back to the same perch. No wasted motion, no drama. A perfect predator disguised as a meditating monk. Now for your debate hook, is patience a superpower or just extremely fancy laziness? Because the red-headed trogon could absolutely make a case for both. It won't chase anything across the forest, but it also never misses when the moment finally arrives. Its call is strange too, a soft, hollow series of notes that sound like someone tapping on distant bamboo. Not loud enough to scare you, just eerie enough to make you turn around. And the moment you step closer, the trogon melts into the understory like it was never there. Myanmar's forests are one of the few places where this bird still thrives, slipping between cool, shaded ravines and old-growth trees like a traveling ember floating through the green. So what do you think? Is the red-headed trogon a quiet ghost, or the forest's calmest hunter wearing a velvet crown? Either way, hold on to the mystery, because the next bird brings fire, literally a burst of red and orange that refuses to whisper. Some birds wear colors. The scarlet minivet burns with them. This is the kind of bird that doesn't just show up in a forest, it ignites it. Bright, flaming red across the body, deep black wings, tail dripping with orange fire. When a male minivet flies across a sunbeam, it looks like someone launched a living spark into the canopy. But here's the fun part. The females are totally different. Yellow, soft, gentle, like a candle next to a wildfire. It's one of nature's best plot twists. Same species, two completely opposite aesthetics. And yet, they move together in perfect harmony across the treetops, calling back and forth like a couple coordinating plans in the middle of a crowded mall. Scarlet minivets don't forage alone. They join mixed species flocks, sweeping through branches with military-level coordination. Every few seconds, you hear their high, ringing whistles, quick, sharp, like tiny alarms marking their positions. And here's where the behavior gets wild. When one minivet finds food, the others close in instantly. It's teamwork disguised as color-coded chaos. Now for the twist. For all their blazing beauty, these birds almost never come down to the ground. They're canopy loyal, high branches only. They live above you, hunt above you, argue above you. If trees were skyscrapers, minivets would be the penthouse residents who refuse to take the elevator down. Mini debate hook time. Does beauty feel more powerful when it refuses to be accessible? Think about it. You can hear the minivet, you can see flashes of red, but getting a clear, close look, that's the real challenge. Some say that's part of the magic. Others say it's annoying. Both sides have a point. Watch them long enough and you'll notice a rhythm. Short flights, quick turns, sudden bursts of color slicing through green. They're the forest confetti thrown into the air by the wind. So what do you think? Is the scarlet minivet nature's purest flame, or just a show-off with incredible lighting? Either way, brace yourself, because the next bird trades fire for smooth gold and a song that travels like honey. Some birds speak with color. The black-naped oriole sings with it. Bright liquid yellow pours across its feathers like someone dipped it in sunlight. Then, just to make sure you noticed, a bold black stripe cuts across its eyes, giving it the permanent look of a superhero who also moonlights as a jazz singer. It's stylish, it's sleek, and it knows it. The first thing people notice is the voice, a smooth, flute-like call that slides through the forest with this effortless confidence. Not loud, but unmistakable. If the scarlet minivet is fireworks, the black-naped oriole is a gold saxophone playing at sunset. And somehow, that sound travels far, drifting above villages, across fields, even over rivers like a warm invitation. But here's the surprise. Despite looking like it belongs in tropical fruit commercials, this bird is a full-time predator. It hunts insects, raids nests, and snatches unlucky bugs mid-flight with surprising precision. That charming song? Total misdirection. There's a sharp hunter hiding under all that yellow gloss. Now for the twist, this bird is restless. It doesn't stay in one canopy for long. Orioles leap from tree to tree with this confident glide, like they're inspecting their kingdom one branch at a time. Everything they do feels a little dramatic, but in that elegant, I was born fabulous sort of way. Here's your debate hook. Does a beautiful bird get away with more questionable behavior? Because if the oriole were dull brown, people would probably call it a thief. But it's neon yellow, so everyone goes, wow, what a pretty bird. Funny how that works. Still, there's no denying the impact of seeing one. A flash of gold against deep green, a ripple of movement, a voice that seems to soften the temperature of the air around it. The black-naped oriole doesn't just occupy space, it enhances it. So what do you think? Is it a charming golden singer or a sneaky hunter in fancy clothes? Either way, don't relax yet, because the next bird is all stealth, all patience, and equipped with a beak designed like a precision tool. The forest has snipers, and then it has the banded kingfisher, a tiny feathered assassin wrapped in blue stripes and attitude. Unlike the flashy kingfishers that shout their colors from the riverbank, this one operates from deep inside the forest, perched low, silent, calculating. If birds had secret agents, this one would absolutely have its own code name. The male's electric blue crown and bands make him look like he's wearing high-end streetwear, while the female rocks a rufous and black pattern that screams camouflage chic. Two completely different outfits, same mission. Find the perfect ambush spot. They sit still for long minutes, sometimes longer, watching, waiting for an insect or lizard to make one tiny mistake. And then, the strike. A quick dive, a snap of the beak, and they're back on the same branch like nothing happened. No bragging, no noise, just professional efficiency. It's almost unsettling how calm they are about being that good at their job. Here's your twist. Unlike many kingfishers, the banded kingfisher doesn't care about water. At all, it's a forest specialist, a tree hunter. Its name makes it sound like it should be diving into lakes, but no, it's out here ambushing cicadas in the shadows. Which brings us to your debate hook. Should a kingfisher that doesn't fish keep the title, or did it earn the name by attitude alone? Their call is unmistakable, a long, rising whistle that echoes through dense jungle like someone is slowly dragging a finger across a crystal glass. Soft at first, then piercing. You can hear it long before you ever see the bird, which is half the challenge. And banded kingfishers take family life seriously. They nest inside old tree cavities, fiercely defending their chosen hollow against anything that comes too close. For a bird that weighs less than a smartphone, they have the confidence of a heavyweight boxer. Seeing one is a rare treat. They blend into bamboo thickets and vines so perfectly that even experienced birders walk right past them. But once you do spot that flash of blue, it's unforgettable. So what do you think? Stealth genius or forest fashion model with a hunting problem? Either way, the forest color palette is about to shift again. The next bird brings sound, rhythm, and a hammering heartbeat. If the forest had a built-in metronome, it would be the coppersmith barbet. You don't find this bird by sight at first, you find it by rhythm. A steady, metallic tunk, 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 echoing through the trees like someone hammering tiny copper plates. That sound isn't a tool, it's a bird the size of your fist, casually announcing itself like the forest's own neighborhood handyman. Look at it closely and you'll wonder how something so small ended up with such a big personality. A bright red forehead, neon yellow throat, green body, blue cheeks. It's like the coppersmith barbet commissioned an artist and said, "Make me look expensive." And honestly, mission accomplished. But the real magic is how it calls. Most birds sing from branches. This one sits upright, puffs its throat like a tiny opera singer, and lets out that perfectly timed tunk. Same pitch, same spacing, over and over. It's not showing off. It's marking territory with sound engineering. Which brings us to the twist. That hammering noise is ventriloquial. It sounds like it's coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. Mini debate hook. Is that brilliant survival strategy or the forest's most annoying superpower? Birdwatchers argue about it all the time. Half adore the rhythm, half go, "Please stop, I'm begging you." And coppersmith barbets aren't just percussionists, they're builders. They carve their own nesting holes into dead trees with precise pecks, turning soft wood into perfectly round entryways. A barbet hole is so cleanly drilled, you'd think someone used a power tool. When they fly, it's a quick, looping dash. Not elegant, but packed with stubborn confidence. They show up, make noise, drill holes, eat figs, repeat. It's a simple life, but executed with style. Seeing one in Myanmar's forests feels like spotting a gemstone with wings. It sparkles, it sings, it hammers. A bird that somehow manages to be flashy and hardworking at the same time. So what do you think? Rhythmic genius or noisy little jewel? Either way, get ready, because the next bird trades rhythm for grace and stands taller than you'd expect. If elegance and awkwardness ever had a baby, it would be the black-headed ibis. Long legs, long neck, long bill. Basically a bird made entirely of lines. And yet, somehow it pulls the whole look together. In the wetlands of Myanmar, it strides through shallow water with this calm, deliberate confidence. Like it owns the place but doesn't feel the need to brag about it. That bald black head is the first thing people notice. It looks a bit unsettling at first, like the bird forgot to put on its feathers before leaving the house. But here's the thing, that bare skin is functional. When you're probing mud, digging through water, and poking around in places no polite bird should go, a featherless head keeps things clean. Hygiene over fashion, and the bill, long, curved, almost surgical, is a tool with history behind it. The ibis sweeps it side to side as it walks, waiting for the faintest twitch of movement beneath the water. When it feels something, snap. It pulls up a frog, a crab, an insect, sometimes even a small fish. Zero hesitation. Here's your twist. Despite looking like a calm monk wading through a temple pond, the black-headed ibis is actually a hardcore survivor. Wetland loss, pollution, farming, everything is shrinking its world. Yet it adapts. It shifts feeding spots. It tolerates human disturbance better than many species. It's resilience disguised as elegance. And now your debate hook. Does a species earn admiration by beauty or by endurance? Because the ibis might not win any color competitions, but it's still here, still hunting, still raising chicks on platforms of reeds and sticks, like a stubborn architect refusing to quit. Watch it take flight and you'll see why ancient cultures treated ibises with reverence. Long wings stretch out, white feathers glowing, black head forward, legs trailing behind like calligraphy strokes drawn across the sky. It's both strange and beautiful, a contradiction that somehow works perfectly. So what do you think? Is the black-headed ibis a minimalist masterpiece? Or just an overachiever with a strange fashion sense? Either way, stay ready. The next bird swaps quiet patience for bold, rusty orange confidence and a personality as warm as its color palette. If Myanmar's wetlands had a sunset that learned how to walk, it would look exactly like the ruddy shelduck. Warm orange body, cream-colored head, dark wingtips. This bird glows even on cloudy days. It doesn't matter where it stands. Lakes, rice fields, riverbanks. The ruddy shelduck always looks like it's posing for a postcard you'd actually want to buy. But here's the curveball. For a duck that looks soft and friendly, it has a voice that absolutely does not match. A loud, echoing honk that sounds like a rusty trumpet trying to clear its throat. The first time you hear it, you look around thinking someone stepped on an instrument. But nope, just the shelduck announcing its existence with full confidence. These birds travel in pairs, sticking together like inseparable best friends on a road trip. They swim side by side, feed side by side, fly side by side. And unlike most ducks, they nest far away from water. Cliffs, tree hollows, even abandoned buildings. Places you'd never expect a glowing orange water bird to show up. It's almost comedic. Here's your twist. They're surprisingly bold. Ruddy shelducks will walk right through grazing cattle, stand their ground against larger birds, and loudly complain about anything they dislike. It's like they were born with no fear and no volume control. Which brings us to your debate hook. Is that bravery admirable? Or are they just dramatic orange extroverts? Watching them, it's honestly hard to decide. Their flight is gorgeous. Long, sweeping wing beats with those black and white wings flashing against that fiery body. When a pair lifts off a Myanmar lake at dusk, it's like two glowing embers rising from the water. And despite their beauty, they're tough survivors. They endure heat, cold, drought, unpredictable wetlands. They take it all. Looking pretty while being durable? That's a combination humans never quite mastered. So what do you think? Elegant wanderer or loud, lovable drama queen? Either way, steady yourself, because the next bird brings a sharper contrast, a bolder attitude, and a riverbank lifestyle all its own. If you ever walked along a quiet riverbank in Myanmar and felt like something was watching you, it was probably the river lapwing. This bird has the permanent expression of a strict security guard who takes their job way too seriously. Black crest, sharp mask, sandy wings. It looks like it woke up ready to file complaints about anyone walking too close to its territory. The moment you step near its nesting ground, the drama begins. A loud, sharp creep cuts through the air, and suddenly the lapwing is running, flying, circling, doing everything short of writing you a warning ticket. For a medium-sized bird, it's surprisingly intense. Territorial? Absolutely. Overly invested? Also yes. But here's the twist. All that attitude is pure strategy. River lapwings nest on open sandbars. No trees, no shade, nowhere to hide. Their eggs look like pebbles on purpose. Their behavior isn't overreaction, it's survival. They scream, distract, fake injuries, and pull off every trick in the "please don't eat my kids" handbook. It's chaotic parenting, but effective. And here's your mini debate hook. Is the river lapwing brave, or just the world's loudest overprotective parent? Birdwatchers argue both sides. One thing's certain, it commits hard to the role. Despite the tough personality, the bird itself is striking. When it takes off, the clean black and white pattern on its wings flashes like a signal flag. On the ground, it walks with this proud, almost military strut, picking insects from the shore with perfect precision. There's a surprising grace tucked under all that attitude. But its biggest challenge isn't predators, it's people. Dams, river alterations, sand mining, all reshaping the world it depends on. The river lapwing is tough, but even tough birds can only shout so much before the river stops listening. Still, watching one stand tall against the current, crest blowing in the wind, eyes locked on anything that moves, you can't help but admire its stubbornness. It's a fighter with feathers. So what do you think? Underrated river warrior or sandy shore drama machine? Either way, the next bird softens the mood, because now we move from fierce to famously elegant, from shorelines to song. Some birds impress you with color. The white-rumped shama impresses you with confidence. Not loud confidence, smooth confidence. The kind that steps out of the forest, flicks its long tail, and delivers a song so rich and clean, you swear someone hid a professional singer inside a feathered body. That's the thing about this species. The voice hits first, clear, complex, full of improvisation. It echoes through Myanmar's forests like a melody searching for the right stage. And when you finally see the bird producing it, a glossy black head, rich chestnut belly, long elegant tail, and that bright white patch flashing every time it turns. Simple colors, elite performance. The shama sings for everything. Territory, mates, boredom, maybe even joy. It doesn't matter. This bird was built for vocals and knows it. Some individuals even mimic other birds, creating entire medleys as if auditioning for a forest talent show. And the crazy part? They get better with age. Older males develop deeper tones and more complex riffs. Experience refined into music. Here's your twist. In some cultures, people kept this species as singing birds, believing its voice brought luck. And yes, trained individuals can sing dozens of phrases. But in the wild, the shama chooses its own script, its own timing, its own dramatic pauses. Which brings us to your debate hook. Is the white-rumped shama the best singer in Southeast Asia, or just the most confident performer? Bird enthusiasts argue endlessly. Some swear by the nightingale. Others say the shama's tone is unbeatable. Honestly, the forest might be the fairest judge, and it listens closely. Watch one hop through the understory. Tail high, body low, movements sharp but graceful. It doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It moves through the forest with the quiet assurance of an artist who knows every corner of their studio. When sunlight hits that white rump patch, the bird almost disappears, then reappears, like a magician revealing the next trick. And right when you think it's gone, the song returns, smooth as silk, reminding you it never left. So what do you think? True virtuoso or charming show-off? Either way, the next bird turns up the volume, literally. From delicate melodies, we jump into joyful chatter and rooftop attitude. If birds had neighborhood personalities, the red-whiskered bulbul would absolutely be the friendly, slightly nosy neighbor who always has an opinion about everything. You hear it before you see it. A bright, cheerful chatter cutting through the morning air like a tiny alarm clock with too much enthusiasm. And when it finally pops into view, that crest says everything. Tall, spiky, dramatic. It looks like a bird permanently surprised by its own energy. Those little red cheek patches are the real giveaway. They make the bulbul look like it's blushing from excitement, which honestly matches the way it behaves. It hops around gardens, rooftops, fruit trees, villages, anywhere with action. This is not a shy bird. This is a social butterfly with wings. Here's the twist. Beneath the cheerful personality, red-whiskered bulbuls are fiercely territorial. They'll chase off rivals, scold intruders, and perform acrobatic aerial battles that look way too intense for such a cute face. The crest goes up, the tail flicks, the wings flash. Suddenly, the sweet songster becomes a feathery warrior with major main character syndrome. And now your debate hook. Are these bulbuls charming, or are they slightly chaotic extroverts? People who live near them tend to pick sides. Some love the constant singing and playful jumps. Others say, please, can we have 5 minutes of silence? The bulbul answers by singing louder. Despite the drama, they're remarkable parents. Pairs build tidy nests, weaving leaves and roots into perfect cups. They defend their chicks with full passion, often working together like a tag team duo in a tiny feathered wrestling match. For such small birds, they show an impressive amount of devotion. In flight, they're quick and confident, darting between branches like they're racing invisible opponents. When a group gathers at the top of a fruiting tree, the whole scene buzzes with motion, as if the canopy itself is having a party. Seeing one perched against Myanmar's green backdrop, crest lifted high, you can't help but smile. This species brings life wherever it goes. So what do you think? Adorable musician or loud, caffeinated troublemaker? Either way, the next bird brings more color, more attitude, and a call that sounds like it was born inside a bamboo flute. If a box of crayons ever came to life and grew wings, it would look exactly like the blue-throated barbet. This bird doesn't choose colors, it chooses all of them. Electric blue throat, neon green body, red crown, yellow patches, black speckles. It's like someone hit the randomized button on nature's color palette and somehow landed on perfection. You usually hear it before you see it. A deep, resonant pock, pock, pock echoing through the forest as if someone is knocking politely on a distant wooden door. That call travels far, bouncing off leaves and bamboo like a sound effect from a mythical forest in a video game. And then finally the bird appears, glowing like a gemstone you didn't expect to find. The barbet moves with a slow, deliberate confidence. It isn't frantic like small songbirds or dramatic like hornbills. It takes its time, inspecting fruit trees, hopping from branch to branch with this chilled-out energy that says, relax, I've got nowhere else to be. Here's your twist. Despite its adorable teddy bear face, the blue-throated barbet is a cavity engineer. It drills its own nest holes into dead trees using surprisingly powerful pecks. Yes, the tiny rainbow bird is secretly a construction worker, and it guards those holes with serious dedication. Mini debate hook. Does a bird this cute have the right to be this territorial? Some say its aggression doesn't match its colorful, nice guy appearance. Others say that's exactly why it's iconic. Sweetness on the outside, steel on the inside, and when it feeds, the show continues. Barbets swallow fruits whole, toss their head back dramatically, and then wipe their beaks on branches like they're cleaning up after a fancy meal. The whole routine is ridiculously charming. Watching one perched on a fruiting tree in Myanmar's forest feels like looking at a piece of living stained glass. Light hits its plumage, and suddenly the bird explodes with color. So what do you think? The forest's cutest rainbow warrior, or a surprisingly serious carpenter in colorful clothes? Either way, brace yourself. The next bird turns the color dial even higher, straight into crimson flames. If the forest ever needed a spark to light its own torch, the crimson sunbird would be it. This tiny creature looks like someone dipped it in molten sunrise. Deep crimson head and throat, metallic green back, yellow belly, tail feathers that flash like hot coals in motion. It's small, yes, but it burns brighter than birds 10 times its size. The moment it enters a flowering tree, everything shifts. The light seems warmer, the leaves look sharper. Even the air feels energized. The sunbird flutters from bloom to bloom with a speed that borders on reckless, hovering just long enough to sip nectar before zipping to the next target. It's basically a caffeine-powered jewel with wings. Here's your twist. While people often compare sunbirds to hummingbirds, these guys don't actually hover for long. They perch, they plan, they hop between flowers with this calculated efficiency, like a tiny strategist who happens to sparkle. And unlike hummingbirds, they aren't shy about announcing themselves with sharp metallic chirps that sound like electricity snapping through the canopy. Mini debate hook. Is the crimson sunbird the most beautiful small bird in Southeast Asia, or just the flashiest? Bird watchers fight over this one. Some argue its colors are unbeatable. Others swear beauty requires subtlety. The sunbird laughs in neon and disagrees. Despite the radiant beauty, the crimson sunbird is tough. territorial, assertive. It will chase away bees, butterflies, even larger birds to protect a flower patch it wants for itself. That fearless attitude packed inside such a tiny frame makes it feel like nature's version of a superhero. Bright suit, big energy, dramatic entrances. And then there's the moment when the sun hits just right, and the crimson on its throat turns into a glowing ember. That's when you understand why people stop mid-hike just to watch it feed. So what do you think? Nature's smallest flame, or a bold little diva with a taste for sugar? Either way, the next bird brings a different vibe. Graceful, ghost-like, and often following boats like an omen of open water. If you've ever taken a boat across Inle Lake in Myanmar, you already know this bird, the brown-headed gull, the unofficial tour guide of the water. Most gulls scream, steal snacks, and cause chaos. This one, it glides beside your boat like it's checking in on your day. Smooth, graceful, disarmingly friendly. Honestly, it might be the only gull on Earth with good public relations. In breeding season, its head turns a warm chocolate brown, giving it this clean, classy look, like it's wearing a vintage pilot helmet. The rest of the year, the head turns white again, and suddenly it's all business, all flight, all attitude. And that's the charm. One bird, two personalities. But here's the real twist. These gulls choose to follow boats, not because they're freeloading for food scraps, but because the boat's wake stirs up small fish and insects. They're smart, efficient, opportunistic in a way that feels almost tactical. One sharp turn, one swoop, and they pluck a meal straight from the air or water. And their flight? Shockingly elegant. Long wings carving slow, confident arcs through the sky. Wingtips barely flicking as they ride pockets of wind above the lake. Watching them skim the surface at full speed feels like watching a stunt scene from a nature documentary that forgot to tell the birds they weren't being filmed. Mini debate hook. Do you think these gulls follow boats because they like us, or because we're just convenient fishing tools? Some locals swear the gulls recognize individual boatmen. Others say it's pure instinct. Honestly, both explanations feel possible. Their calls are softer than you'd expect too. Not the harsh screech people associate with gulls, but a lighter, almost playful sound that fits the gentle mood of Inle Lake. It's the kind of voice that doesn't interrupt the scenery. It complements it. And when sunset hits the water, their white wings turn gold as they glide back to their roosts, leaving the lake quieter, softer, almost emptied of movement. So what do you think? Loyal lake companion or clever sky freeloader? Either way, prepare yourself. The next bird ends this journey with power, mystery, and a hornbill silhouette unlike anything else in the forest. If the great hornbill was dramatic, the wreathed hornbill is theatrical. This bird doesn't just fly, it announces itself. Heavy wing beats pulse through the forest like distant thunder, and then a massive silhouette sweeps overhead, crowned with a curved bill painted in bright ivory and wrapped with multiple dark grooves. The wreaths that give the species its name. Think of it as nature's version of a gladiator helmet. The throat pouch is the real showstopper. Electric blue in males, golden yellow in females, a color contrast so bold it almost looks artificial. When the bird calls, that pouch vibrates like a drum, producing deep, echoing barks that roll across the canopy. A single call from a wreathed hornbill can stop you mid-step. It's not loud, it's commanding. But here's the twist. For all its power and presence, the wreathed hornbill is a gentle giant. It's a fruit specialist, a seed spreader, a critical forest architect. Every fig it swallows becomes a tree planted miles away. This species doesn't just live in the forest, it builds the future of it. And yet, the nesting ritual borders on unbelievable. Just like other hornbills, the female seals herself inside a tree cavity with mud and droppings, leaving only a narrow slit. For weeks, she depends entirely on the male to bring fruit. It's devotion, or the strangest trust exercise on Earth. Which brings us to the debate hook. Is this one of nature's greatest love stories, or the most extreme case of hope he's responsible? Watching a wreathed hornbill take off is like witnessing a myth in motion. Wings open wide, body arcs upward, sunlight flashes across that huge bill, and suddenly the forest feels smaller compared to the creature rising above it. Myanmar's remaining forests hold some of the last strong populations of this bird. Seeing one today isn't just lucky, it's a glimpse into what the ancient jungles used to be. So what do you think? Guardian of the canopy, or a living relic carrying the forest's memory on its wings? Hold on to that question, because as this hornbill disappears into the treetops, it leaves behind one final truth. The wild is still writing its story, and we're just catching up. The deeper you go into Myanmar's forests, the more you realize something simple and a little humbling. These birds aren't just rare species on a list. They're stories, survivors, living proof that the wild still has chapters we haven't read yet. From the velvet glow of the red-headed trogon to the explosive fire of the scarlet minivet, from the ghost-like glide of the white-winged duck to the thunderous power of the wreathed hornbill. Every wingbeat is a reminder that this planet is older, wiser, and far more magical than we give it credit for. And here's the part that stays with you long after the video ends. Most of these species survive not because they're strong, but because their forests still stand. Take away the forest, and the stories disappear. Take away the stories, and what's left? So let me ask you, which bird surprised you the most? Which one would you protect first if you had the power? Tell us in the comments. Your answer is part of the conversation that keeps these species visible. If you enjoyed this journey, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs a reminder that the world is still full of wonders. Because the more people who see these birds, the more hope we give them. The forest is speaking. Thanks for listening.